Well, this is a bombshell. So last week I made a video on Jay-Z and the allegations which honestly shocked the hip-hop world and beyond. And I urge you guys not to pass judgment until more evidence is brought forward. Everybody is an armchair detective in situations like this. But what's interesting is that since then, the victim has come forward and done an interview with NBC. Now, I'm not seeing as many people cover this one because what's interesting is Jay-Z Accuser comes forward to NBC News, acknowledges inconsistencies in her allegations. That is a huge headline, and we're not going to let this one go. We're going to dive into it right now.
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of when she was 13 years old, is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet. But it's a chapter.
What a weird shot. Why do they keep showing the hands?
My life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's fair. We've talked about this in the past. Like, it's very hard for victims in these circumstances and situations to come forward. And unfortunately, in our society, there's still a lot of victim blaming and shaming that happens today. So for as many women that do come forward, there's plenty more that never, ever do.
Be quiet, but it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism.
What?
Is,
that feels like a detail that was left out.
Is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof drug ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
In addition to having
What the fuck?
autism, the woman
Sounds like a ball of joy. That is poetically depressing.
says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party.
Originally, because my knee-jerk reaction to this whole situation was, why is a 13-year-old going on her own in the middle of New York City? But I thought at the very least, like, she was a city girl and, like, maybe, you know, like, teens go out, they go to school, like, they're used to moving about the Big Apple on their own because they're from there. Not from Rochester, New York. That is very different than the mega city of New York City, and traveling 5 hours just to be dropped off on your own. What friend would do that in the first place? And what parent would allow that to happen? How is that a good idea at all?
The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver who offered her a ride
What the?
Manhattan.
This is huge information.
A more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died.
And then, you know, the friend can't even be questioned, and that's a key witness to this investigation.
The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
Okay, is the limo driver able to corroborate this?
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo.
Is she like holding a rabbit?
Because
I was wondering what those shots were that they kept wanting to show. But anyways, back to Good Charlotte.
Brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, you know, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper, because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative of the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time.
So another key witness that you claim, one is no longer here on this physical plate, and then the other ones that you say were there have an alibi because they weren't there. Hang on a second. Let me check on that. Yeah, so Good Charlotte was playing at the Vic Theater in Chicago on that exact date, which means there's going to be a ton of witnesses, and this is well documented that they were there. They're not going to come after that and travel all the way to NYC just for a Diddy party. So that doesn't stack up. So already, again, you've got two key points in this story that are already falling through like plot holes in Game of Thrones season finale.
Attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female...
See, this is also what I don't get. If she's a 13-year-old girl, right? Now she's traveled 5 hours. She had a drink that makes her feel woozy. And yet, even though she was woozy, because she describes fighting off a grown-ass adult man in Diddy. I mean, maybe he was all slippery with the baby oil all over him and it was easy to get away. No, I'm making jokes about a serious situation, but I'm doing it now because I'm very incredulous about all of this. But you understand what I'm saying. Like, there's some things that don't necessarily make sense. If she's woozy and she's not well, she's somehow able to escape these grown men, escape from this place, have the wherewithal to walk all the way to a gas station, and then call her dad to pick her up.
Celebrity watch.
It logically, right? You never want to discount the situations because we don't know, right? We don't actually know. And we still don't know. But if you start to think about a situation logically, there are obvious holes in this situation.
JC comes in and rapes her.
Does NBC want to show that she's mentally unwell? Is that why we keep shifting to her holding the rabbit and playing with the rabbit ears like a child, like turning to that for comfort? Or surely we don't want to show that she's had a traumatic experience and that it's because of the trauma of this whole situation. It feels like they're now showing those shots to paint her in a certain way instead of just having the silhouette. It's very interesting, this choice of shot to depict this.
Well, he at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
In an interview with NBC...
Is that not weird? Because he would have driven 5 hours.
Her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, I felt like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind, he said. When we asked the woman...
Yeah, it would... If you had to go drive 5 hours from Rochester all the way down to New York City to pick your daughter up, who's on her own, that is, as a father, you would never forget that situation. Also, the ride back would not be in silence. I would want to know what the hell is going on and why I had to drive 5 hours, 10 hours round trip to go sort this situation out. Like, what?
It would definitely stick in my mind.
Yeah, facts.
Said.
So here's another key witness that, no, is not corroborating her story at all. So where is the actual evidence and the actual people who can follow through on this story?
When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said that she stands by her statements. I have made some mistakes, she said. Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened.
To all the internet sleuths and to everyone in, the public narrative, you're cooked right there. You're absolutely cooked. If you're already admitting that you've made mistakes in your story in such a serious allegation and serious situation, to have such glaring mistakes and holes in your story, you are cooked.
Mistakes, she said. Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me. The inconsistencies in her account of an incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago does not necessarily mean the allegations are false. The accuser's attorney, Tony Busby, said,
what does he have to
because
say?
we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit to a polygraph. This has been extremely distressing for her, to the point she has experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to the stress. In a statement to NBC News, Sean...
Yeah, well, that's interesting because that's your response. Like, surely, if you feel like you still are pushing forward on this case, like, why are you highlighting her health issues and her stress? You want us to feel bad for her? So that's a red herring. Like, you're just presenting us with something else. So now we want to feel bad for her. But that still doesn't negate the glaring mistakes in the evidence and the lack of evidence. And you know what? Like, obviously NBC and setting this up and showing the way she is with her rabbit and her saying that she has autism. Like, again, I never want to discount that, but obviously you could see where we're going to go logically now, right? Like, has she convinced herself of this reality because she's not well, right? Is there all this going on in her mind that isn't actually going on in the world around her?
Seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to the stress. In a statement to NBC News, Sean Carter said this incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that, it's not like it was just filed. Tony Busby has been on a press run. He's obviously been on a press run with Diddy, but he's also been on a big press run regarding Jay-Z.
We fight from victory, not for victory.
Is any part of you scared coming out against such powerful people?
Yeah, I'm scared of what could happen, but I'm more afraid of letting it eat me alive from the inside out than I am of, being chastised by their fans.
All right, Chloe Malas joining us now
Wow.
live.
I'll tell you what, this is what a difficult situation. And again, as a father of twin daughters, it makes me so uncomfortable even dealing with a story like this, because obviously on one hand, you don't want to misspeak, because if it is true, there's no coming back from that for me. That is an unspeakable, horrific crime. And Jay-Z would deserve the book and beyond. He would deserve everything, right? That's absolutely inexcusable. That's a line you never, ever cross or even come close to. But on the flip side of things, right, with the time delay, with the now glaring lack of evidence, with the witnesses who were made up and weren't even where she said they were, with her own father, he is a key witness for me. He is a key corroborator of this story. He can't even back her claims. That's really interesting, because then you're also getting into this territory of making an allegation like this is beyond serious, right? And the issue is that you have glaring holes in this now. And let's say this does somehow still go to court, right? And the judge doesn't throw it out, but then Jay-Z wins, right? All of this then makes it harder for actual victims to come forward. This muddies the water for situations where it actually happens. And coming forward and doing this and accusing someone of this, right? That's inexcusable as well. That's also a line that you don't cross when you know the truth. And I know Tony Busby, listen, he's been very successful. He won the Deshaun Watson cases. Obviously, he has had an illustrious career in Texas. He's won a number of high-profile cases, and he loves to pursue cases like this. And you would think him going into this, he would do his due diligence as a lawyer, and he would want to take such a public profile case that he feels like he can win. But so far, there's just way too much that is not lining up here and does not look right. The 5-hour situation, I mean, come on. This is wild. But anyways, this is why I want to cover this, guys, because obviously we covered the initial situation, and I wouldn't be doing my due diligence. I wouldn't be doing this case right if I just swept it under the rug, because for whatever reason, this is not getting as much attention as the original allegations, because the internet, news, media loves drama, right? It's much easier to tear people down, to go after them, and people want to get those clicks and people want to see that, than something like this, a story like this that could potentially clear Jay-Z and really makes her not look good at all, right? You can understand why this is not getting as many clicks as headlines that go Jay-Z accused of X, right? But we're going to cover it because, again, not right if I cover that side of things and I don't cover this side of things. So that's why I made this video. That's why we've talked about it. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below after all this new evidence and all this new information is coming forward. But anyways, stay safe, stay positive. I love you guys. Take care of your hearts. Take care of your mentals. It's Molly Knox Hill. You know, I'll catch you again.